Hello, 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 good people. Hello, good people. I am Dr. Hollie Kelly, and this is Dr. Kelly's Perspective for Wednesday, April 11th, 2018. Okay, so I was reading an article yesterday about corruption, and the author took a long time and went back. Hey, Terry, good morning. Went back and unraveled how such massive corruption could have happened. And apparently no one was watching. No one saw anything. Hey, Bridget. And so it made me think about, I rewind things to see how they apply to me. If what I'm reading or seeing or learning is on a grand scale, I don't keep it up there because that keeps it up in the intellectual sphere. I want to wind it back to where I am. Good morning, Kendra. Wind it back down to where I am so I can learn from it. And I love you too. And make it apply to my life, make it relevant, because I'm not trying to end up in jail for some corruption. Hey, Elder Solomon. Thank you for all who are joining me. So here's what how I titled this perspective, Checks and Balances. It is so vitally important that we keep ourselves, that we place ourselves, position ourselves, put ourselves in a place of accountability. We have to keep checks and balances in our lives because the longer we go without checks in our lives, without a balancing act, without someone to call you on behaviors or thought patterns that they see evolving, without that happening, the more we continue down a path that sometimes is leading us straight for a very hard fall, sometimes a very public fall. And it's easy when we keep ourselves, hello, Klashia, it's easy when we keep ourselves on an outside looking in basis. It's very easy to say, I can't believe they were so dumb. How could anybody do that? And use that kind of language and make it blame and make it accusatory and point. When we better stop, slow our roll, pull out the mirror and say, wait a minute, Holly, have you positioned yourself in such a way that can't nobody tell you anything? The higher you climb in your position, the more promotions, the more advancements you get. It becomes harder and harder for anyone to tell you something because of the aura that you put off or simply because of the power structure. This is the world we live in. And if we allow ourselves to be in a position where we don't have anyone to bring an accountability into our life. Good morning, Leonard. Good morning, Leonard. If we don't allow people, if we don't invite people in our lives, we're setting ourselves up for a fall. No one saw the massive corruption. A few people saw it and tried to, talk about it and ask and question. We have got to make sure that we stay in a place. It becomes harder and harder. Someone, Drew gave me a comment that his grandmother used to say that if you're going to bend a tree, you better bend it while it's younger, because the older it gets, it's hard and it becomes almost impossible to break. So while it's a young tree, a young sapling, that's the time to bend it. I put that with people. Teach people while they're young to be accountable. Don't allow people to get away with stuff when they're new in the profession, when they're just just starting their adult life. When we do that, we set people up for failure. The longer I go to the left, I begin to think that it's the right thing to do. And oh, by the way, I haven't gotten caught. And oh, by the way, you got caught because you didn't know what you were doing. You weren't smooth enough with it. And the whole mindset becomes a trap. I'm asking you to keep within your life checks and balances. The higher you get, when you fall, it is harder. It's more visible. It's more public. It's a bigger embarrassment because people are always watching us. And again, I'm not, thank you, Bridget, And you got to want to be kept, okay? Let me just say that. You got to want to be kept. People, unless they for real love you, not going to take your abuse and just acting a complete nut when you try to call them on behavior or thinking patterns. Okay, you have to position yourself. You have to want to be straight. You have to want to be right. And invite those that are trustworthy. Good morning, Betty. Invite those who are trustworthy. Don't forget where you came from. Oh, yes. And there is always room to grow, whether you see it or not. So, again, in order to prevent public falls, public humiliations, falls from great heights, keep yourself in a position where someone can always check you. When the checks and balances are gone, we are begging for disaster. And I don't care if that's a check and balance in a personal life, in a marriage, in a business, in a corporation, at a governmental level, at any level, city, county, state, federal, we must maintain checks and balances. And when we see things out of order, out of whack, from yesterday's, we got to have the courage to stand up to it. We have to, especially in our own lives. I'm telling you, turn that camera around. Keep someone in your life who will check you. You got to have accountability partners in your life, okay? Because everyone who does fall is not... I'll put it like this. When people fall, I promise you, when you start peeling back the layers of where the slippage began, the checks and balances were either intentionally removed from their lives. Never let your slip tail show. Okay, Andre, my brother. When we remove the checks and balances from our lives, we are courting disaster. Keep those who love you close by. Keep those who are wise close by. Keep those who are courageous and not afraid of you getting a little attitude. Keep them very close by. It will prevent public disasters. Okay? Thank you for all who are joining me. Go back, look through your life. Take an inventory of your life. Do you have checks and balances in your life? Especially, I'm talking to those especially who are at the top of their game. Okay? You are the commanding officer. You are the CEO, the CFO. You are the supervisor. You are the lead. You got to keep checks and balances in your life. Thank you, Terry. Okay, that is it for me today. Inventory your life. Until next time, take real good care.